The tractor accessory and attachment market is absolutely huge. The question is, what do I buy? What do I need? What don't I need? What's the right decision? What's the wrong decision? The purpose of this video, I'm going to try to hopefully keep you guys from paying the dumb tax like I did. I've made some mistakes, and I'm going to be brutally honest in some of the things that I've purchased that were a mistake. Also, tell you about some of the smarter moves that I've made, things that have worked out well. My goal, again, is to help you guys from making mistakes, especially the new tractor owners. But actually, this is not a John Deere video. These attachments and accessories are basically for all tractors. Don't go away. Let's get to work. We work awfully hard to bring you great content, and if you would give us a thumbs up, we sure would appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and to those that have subscribed, thank you. I think the most logical place for us to start is right here in the cab. That's an expensive question. That's an expensive upgrade. Do you need a cab? Do you want a cab? Should you buy a cab? Should you not? If you're in a cold climate like we are, this is the Curtis Advantage cab. It's a lot less money than the stock cabs. As a matter of fact, to my knowledge, when it comes to John Deere, they still don't really make a cab for the 1 or the 2 series. Not even sure about the 3. Do you need one? Well, if you're in a cold climate, as I say, like we are, having the heater is wonderful. As a matter of fact, in December of 2022, we had a pretty hellacious snowstorm here. About the most amount of snow in all my years of living in Western New York that I've ever seen. About 4 feet in my driveway. I don't mean 4 feet drifting, I mean 4 feet of snow. At the time, I had my little Kubota tractor, the BX. Didn't have this barn built then. So it started around Christmas Eve morning, and it was brutal. It was snowing like crazy. We had about 60-mile-an-hour winds. It was true blizzard conditions. So I decided with that, the cold and everything else, it just wasn't safe to go out and start plowing. It was a mistake. The BX just simply would not move it. I had to do it bucket by bucket. My driveway's very wide, not all that long. It took me 3 hours to do. Had chains on the tractor and everything else, and again, the little BX wouldn't do it. My point is, it was an open station, and had I had the cab, I would have went out there on Christmas Eve, and I would have moved the snow. Theoretically, I would have had about half of it then to move on Christmas Day. Air conditioning, to my knowledge, is not an option on the Curtis cab. So if you live in a warm climate, I think it's an absolute mistake to buy the Curtis cab, because what you're going to end up doing is what I do in the summertime, is you're going to take the doors off. You can even take the back window out, and then, really, why have one at that point? Obviously, the advantage with the cab, especially when you're brush hogging, is to keep all that pollen and everything else from, coming into your nose. But if it's hot out, you're going to have the doors off, so I don't really see the advantage to it. If you can get a factory cab or like a Mauser cab or Tektite, where you can get the air conditioning option, then no matter what climate you're in, especially if you're in a southern climate where it gets really hot, boy, it sure is nice having the air conditioning then. So the question is, should you buy it? It's a real individual answer. That's something you're going to have to look at your needs. What do you want? Again, are you doing a lot of snow plowing like I am? You're going to want the heater. It's really, really nice to have. If not, if you're in a warm climate, you got to go with something that's got air conditioning. To sit in here with the doors and windows closed, if you're brush hogging and it's hot out, would be absolutely brutal. So the answer to that question is individual. Let's talk about rear ballast and safety. One of our most popular videos was the video where we had rim guard installed in these tires. Of everything that I've done to this tractor, I think this is my favorite. It's approximately, with these size tires on the 2 Series, the 2038R, about 256 extra pounds of ballast per wheel. So over 500 pounds of rear ballast on this tractor. The thing with rim guard is, Once it's done, you just don't think about it. You're not taking it off, putting it on. Even if you don't have any other additional rear ballast on the tractor, at least you got the 500 pounds in the tires. It's cost effective, it's beet juice, it's about 11 pounds per gallon, so it's heavier than water. I know down south they use water sometimes, they use windshield washer fluid. Some guys have even used calcium in the past. The problem with calcium is if it leaks, it can rust out your rims and your valve stem. So once again, rim guard to me makes absolutely perfect sense. I don't think you should leave the dealer without having rim guard in your tractor tires. This is something you got to do. I told you I'm going to be brutally honest. Tess, my wife, had gotten me this for Christmas. All right, so let me show you exactly close up what the issue is. So this is the half that stays on the tractor, okay, and it has a little release button here, and this stays on the attachment. So what you're supposed to do is line this up, basically these holes with these, and this is how you mate them. And you can already see it's even difficult without being on the tractor to get in. So you've got to make the connection there. And then right here is where you put the pin through. So the pin is the type that comes through and has a ring on that you can pull off. Well, you can probably see right here how the tolerance is so minimal. Now, I've tried drilling it out, and it's so tight that when you pull the pin, you rip the ring off the pin. It's just a poor design. It really is. I have fooled with this thing, and I'm not going to fool with it anymore. So to me, it's just not worth it, the aggravation. You know, frankly, I've only got one attachment that I use the PTO on, which is my tiller. And to just connect that, it's not that difficult. It's not worth getting aggravated for. There is one thing, if you don't already know it, that makes hooking up your PTO attachment very simple. Let me show it to you. So if you look right here at the PTO, if I go to turn it, it doesn't lock. So a lot of guys, when they are trying to hook up a PTO attachment, will try to raise the tiller up, turn the blades to try to get the PTO attachment to line up. There's a simpler way. So here is the PTO control, whether you're running the rear or the mid mount. And right now, I've got it on the rear. If I push it to where it disengages the PTO, this is what happens. Now, all of a sudden, look, you can turn it. So if you do that when you're hooking up your implement, it makes it much simpler. So a lot of you guys already know that. Some of the new tractor owners might not have. I didn't originally, but knowing that will make your life a little easier. All right, so let's go back to the rear wheel for just a second and talk about two different items. This one's pretty obvious, which is a wheel weight. 70 pounds, so 140 pounds of rear ballast. The problem with the wheel weights is it makes it very difficult to check your lug nuts. So if you look, you'll see that what I've done is drawn lines, and if I see it starts on the wheel and goes up the side of the bolt. And if I see that it has moved, well, then I know that something's come loose. You know what? It's easy rear ballast. It's always there. So between the rim guard and these, you know, that's, I don't know, 650, 700 pounds of rear ballast that's always there that I don't have to think about. By far, our most popular and controversial video has been when we installed wheel spacers on this tractor. So here's a look at the wheel spacer. These are made by Bora, which is one of the premium manufacturers. So I've got 3-inch wheel spacers, Bora, on the rear tires, and 1.5 on the front. I'll show you those in a second. It's been controversial. To me, you're increasing the stance of the tractor. Some guys have told me they think it's a waste of money. One guy even told me he thought it was a scam. To me, it's just simple physics. If you increase the stance of something, it makes it more stable. We all know these tractors are tippy. especially if you add a cab, it then becomes even more top heavy. So the Bora spacers, by the way, if you order from Bora, I do consider them one of the best. You're going to wait. They're made to order, so it's going to take a month or so for you to get them. But when you get them, you just see the quality, how they're machined. It's just really terrific. So again, I increased the stance, the rear, by a total of 6 inches, increased the front by a total of 3 inches. So these wheels are cupped. And what they're made to be able to do is, if you want to increase your stances, you could just reverse them. And I just thought the spacers made more sense. And as you can see, I've got the lines on the lug bolts so that I'm able to just take a glance and see if anything has come loose. So the determination on spacers, in my opinion, absolutely makes sense to do. Here's something you may not think about. And if you operate your tractor in a cold climate where you've got ice, what kind of tires do I get? All I'm doing is I'm mowing grass on a flat surface, so maybe I'm going to get turf tires. I'm working in the mud, so I'm going to get R4 tires like these. I don't have to really worry about mud. I do snow plow with it. Maybe I'm going to get the hybrid tire. Well, my biggest challenge is mud, okay? And I don't want to get stuck. But at the same time, I do snow plowing. These large lugs on the R4 tires are not conducive to snow and ice. Therefore, we did a video a while ago where I actually re-grooved the tires. I did it before last winter, and I gotta tell you, it really makes a difference. I had R4 tires on my Kubota, I had R4 tires on my 1025R, and I plowed without these being grooved and then with them grooved, and believe it or not, it really does make a difference. So here's something really rudimentary and basic, and that is bucket hooks. I do recommend Ken's bolt-on hooks. They're going to be the highest quality. This is a separate unit from JU Fabworks, and it does have the rings on it and a couple more hooks, but I really like it for moving trailers. It's really, really handy to have around the property. Definitely recommend bucket hooks. Hey, let me stop for just a second and add this. As far as accessories go, tractors right from the dealer are ready to work. It just comes down to what are you going to do. It's kind of that individual decision we talked about with the cab. Are you snow plowing? Are you doing a lot of brush hogging? Are you doing a lot of tiller? Are you moving stone and soil and what have you? All these things determine what type of attachment you should or should not get. I will say this, when it comes to rear SCVs or third functions, if the dealer's not outrageous, I might gravitate towards having that done at the dealership. They're going to use hard lines versus the soft rubber. The installation is much more integrated. As a matter of fact, let's talk about that for just a second. You're going to see in an upcoming video the installation of this Artilian diverter valve. Now, I got it for my grapple. I have a Frontier grapple, and I need some type of third function or diverter for that. The diverter valve does exactly what the name implies. It diverts hydraulic fluid flow from your dump and curl to be able to open and close the grapple. A true third function is the way I should have gone. Here's why. I use my box blade a lot, and what I really want is a hydraulic top link to be able to control the angle and the pitch of the box blade. That requires rear SCVs. And purchasing the Artilian diverter for the front was cheaper than a third function. However, Summit now makes a rear SCV that mounts right up here that can do both. You can run a line, you're going to use your power beyond at that point. You can run a line to the front to be able to give you access to that third function on any front mounted implements, but you also can have the rear SCVs. So in the long run, and I'm going to do that, I'm going to put rear SCVs on this, but I'm going to end up spending more money. So all by way of saying that I shouldn't have rushed into it. Look, the Artilian diverter valve is fantastic, and it was very affordable. if that's your only goal, okay, is the front mounted implement. But because I have some needs in the rear, with the rear SCVs needed, all in now when I do it, I'll end up spending more money. So give that some thought, think long term when you're putting additional hydraulics on your tractor. Let's talk about some attachments, and this pains me to say. This is made by Dirt Dog. It is a soil pulverizer. It's got 2 rollers back here, plus the tines up front. If you do a lot of finish grading, and by finish grading I mean an entire site that needs to be graded, this is going to be fine. However, what I do a lot of are turf grass repairs. Someone calls me and there's a certain section of their yard that's bumpy, they want it leveled out, and I want to prepare it for seed. What I have found is that this is not the right tool for the job. This is made for a large area, not a small area. As a matter of fact, Tractor Time with Tim did a great video on this where he ran into the same situation. He tilled the area and then went to put a final grade on with a soil pulverizer, and he even said at the end of it, I would have been better off just sticking with the tiller. In its proper application, proper setting, it is then the right application. But for me, so far, I've been disappointed. Now, what would have been correct? Well, a power rake. That's what I really should have put this money into. Nothing works like a power rake. They're really unbelievable, and I may do that at some point. I did buy this through Courtney at Good Works Tractor. He was phenomenal. I even spoke with him over the weekend, or one of his employees, about the possibility of trading this in, and they were rather fair with what they would do with me, but I don't know what I'm going to do. Second attachment, I talked about it before, is the grapple. Do you have a lot of wooded area where you're going to be working? A grapple will pay for itself the first day. Do you have to put a third function or a diverter on the tractor? Yeah, you do. But that small price to pay for the work that you're going to get out of this grapple. To me, this is a must. These 2 attachments I use more than anything else. The first being the forks. You know, not getting any younger, so even stuff around just on the property that I normally would have lifted, I'll just go grab a pallet and move it to wherever I want it with the forks. The tiller, constant use. Probably in 75% of the jobs that I do for other people, at some point the tiller's going to come and play. And this is a Frontier, just like the other attachments I have except the Dirt Dog, and does a phenomenal job. To me, a tiller is a must. Forks are a must. So this is an accessory that absolutely puzzles me why everybody doesn't have, and that's the quick hitch. Now, this is the Deere OEM quick hitch. There's a myriad of different ones. You can go to Harbor Freight and get one for under $200. I just don't know why you would want to fool with a 3-point arms. I mean, almost all attachments now are quick hitch compatible. It's the simplest thing to do, considering the fact that you don't even need to get off your tractor to change implements. I mean, it's just that simple. It's an inexpensive add-on. I think when you're buying your tractor new, you ought to have it on. If not, immediately get one from, I mentioned Courtney a minute ago from Good Works Tractor. They're actually manufacturing their own right now, and they look really, really nice. Get a quick hitch. It makes good sense. So this is the 511 brush guard. You know, again, I think with accessories and attachments, it's a cost versus reward situation, right? So you have the cost of the 511 versus what if you don't have one and a branch goes through your radiator? You know, you could pay for a lot of brush guards, what that is going to cost you to repair. So again, this is kind of one of those make sense things. I think tractors should come with them as standard equipment. Don't you guys? I hope this was beneficial. I really do. I hope it stops one of you guys from making some mistakes like I have. Please put down in the comments anything that you disagree with, anything that you think I left off that you'd like to see reviewed. Again, this is, I think, really beneficial, not just for new tractor owners, but guys that have tractors already. And once again, it's not brand specific. These are not green items. These are items that you're going to find on just about any tractor. Thank you so much for joining us. God bless you all, and we'll see you next time on Tractors in Life.